There's a variety of ways to change how audio works in a storyboard. Let's have a look. To start with, you can add as many audio placeholders to your scene by clicking the Add Audio button at the top of the placeholder list. Your placeholder appears at the bottom of the list. Let's assign an audio file to the placeholder. I'll use an audio file I have in the scene library. Let's preview the video.
Thanks for being such a loyal customer.
Great, let's look at the audio controls. To start, you can change the starting time of the placeholder by using this slider here. You can also fade in an audio placeholder by changing the timing of the fade in to anything above 0. I'll preview that too.
Thanks for being such a loyal customer.
Did you hear how the voiceover started lower and faded in? You can also fade out with this property here. You can change the volume of the placeholder with this volume property. When using video in a media placeholder, you will also have these audio controls, as video might have audio attached to it. To not use the audio, you can click the mute button. We'll talk about the last property a little later. First, let's add another audio placeholder. I'll make this audio placeholder dynamic and connect it to a parameter called name. I'll then specify a folder so I can use mapping. This means that I won't have to pass a whole URL for where to find the file. Instead, I can just pass the name of the file, and if the file exists in the mapped folder, it will be used. I can choose a default value so that if the file doesn't exist in the mapped folder, I'll have a fallback. Now for the fun bit. Let's make Audio 1 follow Audio 2, so that when Audio 2 ends, Audio 1 starts. As Audio 2 might have a lot of different lengths, there's no way to know exactly when to make Audio 1 start, which is why this is needed. This is available in the audio controls. Earlier, we were assuming the audio starts at the beginning of the scene. Now I use the Ending of Placeholder option and specify Audio 2. I can also add a time shift to that if I wish to. Let's preview this. I'll use the name Carl.
Hi Carl, thanks for being such a loyal customer.
Audio 1 follows Audio 2 perfectly. There's also an option to add a soundtrack to the whole video. The soundtrack will run through the full length of the video, not just one scene. Find the soundtrack at the Storyboard menu at the top. I choose a soundtrack. This is the one here. I can include a fade in, fade out, or adjust the volume. But this last option, Sidechain Compression amount, is the interesting bit. Let's preview the audio with no changes for now.
Hi Carl, thanks for being such a loyal customer.
Okay, you can tell the volume of the soundtrack is a little high when the narrator is talking. If I drop the volume of the soundtrack down, when the narrator is not talking, the soundtrack will be low. This is where Sidechain Compression comes in. This allows for the soundtrack to be dropped only when the other sound is heard. First, define how much you want the soundtrack to drop by in the soundtrack properties. Let's drop it to -12. Nothing will change now as I haven't yet defined which placeholders affect this. I do this individually for each placeholder. Here. Turn this on for each placeholder that you want to affect Sidechain Compression. Let's preview this.
Hi Carl, thanks for being such a loyal customer.
Did you hear the soundtrack drop when the narrator was talking? That's what it's all about. Let's add another final audio placeholder. I'll use this one for the sound effects. This one doesn't need to change the volume of the soundtrack, so I leave it as it is, and click Preview to hear my final dynamic mix.
Hi Carl, thanks for being such a loyal customer.
Great, good to go. Thanks for watching.